electricians are here to do some of the finish work in the kitchen. This is their supply van. Now down here in the cellar, all the wires that they had hanging here in loops, they routed them up onto this beam, ran them across over top of where the furnace is. So here's the furnace is right here. So these wires are right above it on this beam, and they run down over the expansion, past the expansion tank. It picks it up back here, comes through this blocking, makes a little turn, comes across. The sub panel is going to go right here. They had a sub panel with them, but apparently it was the wrong size, or something was goofed up on it. So they're going to return with the correct one, and they'll put the sub panel in there, and they'll jump power from the main panel into the sub panel, and that'll be all a done deal. The electricians came and went today, and they have gotten the wall switches and the outlets all established and installed. There's also a plug in here. This is the one that's going to be for the refrigerator. That's all connected up. These are the switches and the dimmers for the outside lights, and the ones above this space right here where the pantry is. Over here they got, this is the under cabinet lighting power supply. They didn't get to that yet, but they've got these switches above the counters installed. They just got to push them in and I'll put on the wall plates. I think they left them out because when we do the backsplash, you know, everything's out of the way. So here's these are all hooked up, ready to be pushed in. This one over here is a little different. It's got a USB opening so we can charge our phones over on this corner where the peninsula is. So we're all set for the electrical on the walls and the floor. He roughed in the one down here for the oven. They just had to get a special socket to receive the plug from the oven, and they'll be back to put that in. Their next pass, they're going to do the lighting. They got everything marked. We have these little target points where they have to drill for the lights. So the wires are already in the ceiling, so they just drill the holes for the lights up there, and then they'll pull the wires through and get the lighting all hooked up. They still have to install the controller for the heated floor, and the wires for that are right down here and up here. So these wires are for the thermostat, and the big heavy yellow wires are for the power that goes into the floor. And they're going to rough the wires into the bathroom area. So we got our vanity. So we're going to have some outlets to either side of the vanity, and then power supply up on the top for the vanity lights. So that's still, they're going to make another trip back here to do that. So that's all set. Now for the oven, they were able to take the existing power supply wire, which is up here in the rafters, and they put in a junction box right here. So that's for the range. And then they put a piece of wire, because the wire used to come straight up through here and go into the wall that is where the den is. So they had extended out to its new location. So they added this piece of wire and they ran it down this beam right here, which is right this big huge black wire here, and that comes across, takes a turn right next to this drain pipe, comes up alongside of that, and it dives into the sole plate right there, and it goes through that beam and it comes up into the wall, into the cavity where the oven's going to go. Hey everybody, here's an update on our electrical work. They came by really early in the morning. They had a cancellation nearby, so they were able to shift their efforts over to our house for a day. So what they were doing was finishing up the outlets and switches, getting the covers on, getting things wired up. They had to connect up a jumper line from our existing oven power supply and ran that into a junction box because they had to run additional wire, because of course our oven is moved from its original position a spot further away from where that wire originally went, so they had to make up the extra distance with some new wire. So they got that installed. They still need to put in the outlet for the stove. Apparently they had brought the wrong one, which is, it's typical. Sometimes they just don't have everything they need on the first try. But that's okay, because they also had a discrepancy on the sub panel they need to put in. So they're going to come back the next time with the correct sub panel and get that jumped out from our original main breaker panel. So that's another thing they're going to do. But while he was there, he routed the wiring that was already in the cellar and all looped up and hanging in the joists. They ran that closer to where that sub panel is going to be. So that's just a matter of putting the panel in and connecting up the wires. So Kyle was there with his assistant. The assistant was doing the switches and the switch covers and the outlets, while Kyle was downstairs routing the wires for the oven and getting them over where the sub panel is going to be mounted. So they made really good headway. They were there quite a few hours, and then they took off. They're going to come back on a second occasion and finish up the lighting. They did mark the ceiling where they want the lights to go, and then they have to drill some holes in the ceiling. So that's on the next visit. So we're ready to start getting our appliances to the house and in position. That way, once that's done, we can start doing the profile, or rather the template for the countertop. So we need to have some of those appliances in place so they can make the appropriate measurements for how the material for the counter is, where that's going to land. So we've got a lot of balls in the air right now. I just got back from Plimpton and Hills. The valve I wanted to try and get parts for was obsolete. They don't make parts for it anymore, and there's no equivalents. So I am going to have to switch that valve out completely. Luckily, there was a plumber there who does that kind of work, and he gave me some recommendations on what he thinks is a good valve to make that replacement with. So I got that information from him, and I'm going to look that up today at work, and maybe get that order through Amazon and get that here so I can start changing that out. But meanwhile, I can start putting the guts together of our downstairs shower, because there's a cartridge and a shower head and things like that need to be assembled onto the raw valve that's in the wall. So I'll be busy with a little plumbing work this weekend, and I got to start routing my pipes up to the second floor to get that valve put in as well. So I got my work cut out for me this weekend, and we'll make some more headway, and we'll give you an update so you can take this journey with us to the final stages of our renovation project. So have a great weekend. It's going to be gorgeous, and I hope everyone's going to have a good time and be able to spend it with family and friends. Bye-bye.